W3DF Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. It's time for Wallow and Friends on Sports 56, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here's your host, the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Welcome in, everybody, on a fabulous Friday. Tomorrow, big doubleheader day for all you Tiger fans. Tonight, big game, the Grizz and the Western Conference defending champion Phoenix Suns. Will the Grizz do this thing where every other game they play great and have an upset? We shall see about that tonight. But in all sincerity, I must start this show with an apology. I've done a disservice to my producer, J. Morgan Harder. I feel bad because maybe I've done a disservice to all of you. I have banned him from picking his Miami Dolphins because he does this with his heart, not his head. But because of last night, you get this.
Miami has the Dolphins, the greatest football team. We take the ball from goal to goal like no one's ever seen. We're in the air, we're on the ground, we're always in control. And when you say Miami, you're talking Super Bowl, cause we're the Miami Dolphins.
All right, stop it. That's enough. That's enough. You know what? That's kind of cute. That is nothing like Bear Down Chicago Bears or On Wisconsin or Hail to the Victors at Michigan. Whew, now that is really good fight song stuff. That's wimpy. That's a little like all of a sudden the Baltimore defense. What has happened to the Baltimore defense? They're imposters. They're not the same guys. I don't get it.
That secondary is fraudulent, Dave. That's what I've been saying.
Do you know in the last 3 games, they have given up 6 plays of 50 or more yard chunk plays?
Last night's was a game changer, too, and I imagine that's why they've gone into overtime in so many of these games, but they're sneaking them out so no one says anything.
Well, they had 2 good drives. They were the first 2 drives of the game, and they ended up with only 3 points out of those 2 drives. Maybe Lamar Jackson has been figured out. Didn't somebody say that a little while ago?
Maybe.
It really made him mad? That's terrible. Last night's games were interesting. Because, you think Baltimore really is a good team capable of winning the AFC, frankly. And then they have their offense isn't much anymore. I don't know what's happened there. And in their defense, which was once ferocious, 6 plays of 50-plus in the last 3 games. You're not going to win games like that. And then North Carolina, did you watch any of that game?
Oh, I watched the beginning of it. They got down early and came back.
They've done it. This is what they do. They fall behind like they did to Wake Forest, and they came back, and what were they down, 14 points in the fourth quarter there?
I think
they were down
right.
16 points in the fourth quarter this time. They were down 17-0 right away. It was 23-7 to start the fourth quarter. They come back. It's tied 23. It goes into overtime, and Pittsburgh really, I thought, was the better team. And Pittsburgh now has a chance to still win their division in the ACC because they won that game. In fact, they're in first place because they won that game. What a showdown between 2 really, really, really good college quarterbacks. I don't know if they'll be pros. They could be. Sam Howell, Kenny Pickett, if you haven't seen them play, they're really worth watching because they're good. They can both run. They're both tough. They're both competitors. They can both throw the ball. They can both read defenses. I really enjoyed that. That was a good football game last night. Now, Tigers tomorrow. Going to have to get that same kind of recognition, quick releases, and they're going to have to play really good to beat East Carolina. We mentioned what's on the line tomorrow. The winner is bowl eligible. That's not to say they won't get to bowl eligibility if they don't win tomorrow, but the winner does get their 6th win.
A little more at stake.
I think it's been 2014 since East Carolina's won a game, but East Carolina's had Memphis's number. Even in Memphis, they're 7-5. And Memphis has a bunch of injuries, There's 2 or 3 on the offensive line that are going to end up being game-time decisions. I think they're healthy at running back finally. I don't know how healthy they are at wide receiver. Hennigan is I think he's close to 100%. I'm not going to make any excuses for him because he looked so good last week. But I know he was sore after that game. So it'll be interesting to see what happens tomorrow. That is an 11 o'clock game. And then the Tigers play the basketball game at 6. And it's 6, so all of you know. And they got another guy yesterday. I don't know. Do you keep up with the recruiting really well?
I'm not really on the recruiting trail very much.
Really?
Yeah, not
Former
really.
basketball
Well,
coach?
that was actually my least favorite part of coaching, to be honest.
No, you don't get players. You sound like Dan Mullen.
Like
now.
Dan Mullen, yeah.
So the Tigers get a kid who's been playing at IMG. He's a 4-star, 6'6" guard, originally from Frederick, Maryland. I think he's really good. His name is Noah Batchelor. But I'll be honest with you, I don't know that much about him. And this is for next year. So the Tigers will have another big guard, 6'6". Is there are we losing the little guy in college basketball? Although North Carolina Central is small. Their two best players are like 6 feet tall.
A lot of those guys are going to schools like that. I was watching Arkansas Little Rock this morning, and their point guard's a freshman, another little guy like that. So I think there's still a place for him. But, big-time schools want big-time – or not big-time, big guards, though. They could still be big-time.
It is interesting. There's a little reverse trend here with the portal now. It used to be that a smaller school would develop a really good player, and then, graduate portal, he could go. Now you could do it with the transfer portal. So you've got a guy you've put 2 or 3 years into, you've developed him into a good player, and now he's got that free reign to go, and some SEC school or Big Ten school goes, hey, man, we'll get you to the NFL. You want to play in front of 100,000 people? Come on. And so they get enticed and they go. And sometimes that doesn't work out because some guy, that 5-star recruit they came in, actually is a little better than he is, even when he gets there, and he gets beat out. That's not a good story. But we're getting reverse here. We're getting guys who get beat out, and I'm talking about basketball and football, who get beat out at Power 5 schools and go, you know what? I can be a star at a mid-major. Basketball, too. And so, and that's what you saw the other day when Memphis played Pelfrey's team, Tennessee Tech. They had 5 guys from Power 5 schools that had transferred down.
I think that's also something that maybe kids, when they're going to pick school, when they think I'm going to go somewhere for 4 years, they maybe considered that when they were in high school. Now maybe it takes a year at a big school, realizing, I love playing basketball. I want playing time, even if that's at a smaller school. I want to play the game. And that's why they may be a little more content after 1 year of getting beat out to go to a smaller school like that.
Well, it's interesting. And here's the position that is always going to be in great need, a lack of supply. And that is going to be backup quarterback. Because now you don't rotate quarterbacks. We always say this, right? It's the cliche. If you got 2 quarterbacks, you got no quarterbacks. I don't necessarily believe that's totally true. I think every program has to have a backup quarterback. Look what happened when Seth Hennigan goes down. I mean, if I don't know if Keelan Brown would have been the answer, but if there had been a guy like Grant Cannell, or if Hennigan had been here and Grant Cannell had gone down, now you got a backup that could have beaten UCF, and Peter Parrish hadn't snapped the football in 3 years. What were the odds that he was really going to be a great player? I thought he did well for the circumstance. But if you're a quarterback and you're pretty good and you get beat out, people are going to keep the same quarterback. They don't rotate that position. It's not like you're going to use 2 or 3 running backs, or you're going to use 5 or 6 wide receivers, or you're going to use 2 tight ends, sometimes in the same play, sometimes 3 tight ends in the same formation. You're only going to use 1 quarterback. And most of the time, that quarterback's going to use he's going to be in on every play, including the kneel downs. So if you're the backup, you're going, wait a second. I only got so many years to play. I'm not going to be an NFL guy. I want to play. And you're going to go, and you may go down. You may go from a Power 5 to a mid-major, a group of 5. You may go from a group of 5 to an FCS, and they got playoffs there, and enjoy that experience. And I don't blame you, but I'm just saying the backup quarterback is going to be the least supplied commodity in college football because you only play one. You never rotate them. And if you're not it and you want to play, you got to go somewhere else.
So you should start recruiting like 5 really good quarterbacks because you know you're probably going to lose 3 of them. Gives you good odds to keep 1 good backup.
Oh, you got to get a guy that's really a team guy that loves the school. Seriously, and that might be just a great Memphis player that comes, gets beat up, but he doesn't want to go. I don't know what else the answer is, but it to me, that's the biggest that trend will continue and continue and continue because you don't rotate that position. If you did, it might be a different story. All right, we do locks every day of the week. Give us the recap. We know you're ahead.
I think I don't have my sheet out, but I believe I'm 1 game over 500, and you're 1 game under 500, right?
With a push.
Yeah.
So I'm a game and a half behind you.
Uh-huh.
All right. I have a theme again this week.
Should I play the music?
You can. Absolutely. Oh, and then after this, remind me, during the break, we're going to take the 4th caller who wants to go to see the Tigers in the East Coast. It's going to be a great football game. Tigers are 4.5-point favorites.
It moved up 5.5 this morning.
Oh, really?
How about that? At least I saw it on ESPN. I could have wrote it down wrong, but I thought it said 5.5. But it was 4.5 yesterday. You're right.
I thought the thing started at 6.5, to be honest with you.
Oh, really? So it's moving all over the place.
Yeah, I think it's moved in favor of East Carolina. I got it at 4.5 today.
Okay, we'll go 4.5.
But my point is, it's going to be a good game.
Yeah.
So after we give our locks, the 4th caller will get 2 good tickets to see the Tigers and the Pirates at 11 tomorrow morning. So don't start calling. Already some have. Don't start calling because it's not going to count until after we do our locks. All right, I'm going to start. We'll go back and forth?
Sure.
I'm just letting you know all of mine are college.
Love it.
I thought the NFL lines were just too hard. I mean, I could make arguments on both sides.
Yeah.
And look, I was 1-2 again last week. It's not like I'm incredible at this exercise. Very disappointed in myself because I really felt last week when I walked out of here, I thought I got a 3-0 week. I loved my picks.
So did I.
I mean, that would have been a parlay I might have tried on one of these apps. Gosh, they spend money on those apps. I don't think any of those apps are making any money yet. They will in the end.
Spending way too much money in advertising to make any money.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
All right. So my first one is, and I'm saying this because in the last few years, what do you think 50-point favorites record is?
Tell me. It's got to be. I'm going to say 1 loss. Undefeated, 1 loss.
No.
Nah, it's
the other way.
Only 1 win.
3-14. 50-plus point spreads. The favorite wins the game, but doesn't cover 50 points. I know that Alabama's great. And I know Alabama's going to win the game, and they're probably going to want to put a hurt on New Mexico State, too, because, style points after last week, they count now with this committee, or you think they do, unless you're Alabama, maybe. 51.5 is what I'm getting here. 51.5. That's a lot of points. I think it'll be close, but I think New Mexico State is going to squeak this one out for me. I think Alabama will win by 45, but not 51.5. So give me New Mexico State.
Those are the most interesting games to me when it's 50-point spreads like that. I love playing that game with 50-point spreads. I'm going to start, Dave. You did 1 baseball game this year, so I'm going to go off the board a little bit.
You can do that.
And there's a very important game tonight in the soccer world, in the footy world, for the United States to qualify for the World Cup.
In fact, I will tell you, I offered my son tickets to see the Grizzlies and the Phoenix Suns tonight, and he said, Dad, almost any day I would do that. And he's been to just about every Grizzlies game this year. But he said, no, I'm staying home to watch the USA.
The USA plays a big one tonight in Cincinnati, home game against Mexico. This is big time to qualify. They're minus 110 when the draw is no bet. So a draw is no bet. I'm going to take United States minus 110 to win the game.
USA over Mexico.
USA over Mexico.
I wonder what he would have done if it had been tomorrow night with the Tigers because he's a big Tiger guy.
Oh, maybe.
That would have been tricky.
Well, it's pride, patriotism.
Well, we're all pulling for. Soccer's gotten into the fabric here.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, 901 FC, we loved it. Memphis Americans, I just heard Greg talking about it. I actually was talking with somebody on the way here about the Americans because there's only 3 teams that have been announced in that league, but I've heard now Rome, Georgia is going to be the 4th team in the NISL.
Home of Berry College, Rome, Georgia, with Berry Vikings, a great football program, played the Rhodes Lynx last week.
Only you would know that.
They have an NFL player.
Really impressed.
They have an NFL player.
A Division III school's got. Well, you know what?
Mason Kinsey.
Who is the guy? I just want to check your Rhodes College knowledge. Who was the guy that played in the NFL that went to college at Rhodes?
You got me. I have no idea.
Played for the New York Giants.
Really?
Tom Malati.
What position?
Wide receiver.
Wow. That's what this guy is. Mason Kinsey plays wide receiver from Berry College.
How about that?
How about that?
How about that? That's the 2nd Division III guy I know now. That's outstanding. So you go the USA over Mexico, and I have New Mexico State to cover the 51.5. I'm going the same way with the Volunteers. I believe in Josh Heupel. I don't think he's going to win that game. 20.5 points, that's a lot of points. Because they're going to score some. I know Georgia's defense is outstanding. Don't get me wrong. I do think, it's a little like Ole Miss. I think they're going to score. They're not going to score enough to win this game, but Tennessee's going to put some points up. They're going to lose by 17, 14, somewhere in there. But they're not going to get beat by 20.5. I believe in Hooker. I believe in the Heupel system. Give me the Volunteers and the points.
I think it's the offense that Georgia's faced this year. I'm going to go to the NFL for my last 2. Like I said, I'm trying to bolster that record a little bit.
You seem to have a pretty good handle on it.
Well, I don't know about that. That's the famous last words there.
I got to really be pulling for you for USA over Mexico.
Yeah, I love that. And I'm going to go Bills play the Jets this week in New York.
Yeah.
The Jets are off a long week, played on Thursday night. Mike White is back, and the Bills are coming off a stinker, which I don't love betting against the Bills coming off a stinker in Jacksonville. But I still think that game's going to be close. Jets plus 12 at home. I'm going to take the Jets in that one.
Wow. So the Bills minus 12 at New York, and you're taking the Jets.
Yeah, man. Jets.
Okay. I didn't realize it was that big, 12.
Yeah.
I think the Bills have to prove something here. That was a stinker last week.
It was.
Josh Allen's going to go crazy. I think that's going to happen there. All right, my third one is another big point spread that I like the dog. Purdue is hot, right? They just beat Michigan State.
Spoiler makers.
They're not beating Ohio State. And they're playing this in the shoe. But 21.5? I'm getting more than 3 touchdowns and a hook? Come on. Purdue could do that to Michigan State. They can hang with Ohio State. They can. I think Ohio State will win the game. I think they'll win it by 2 touchdowns. Not 3 and a hook. Give me the Boilermakers.
I like that. I was looking at that one this morning as well. Like I said, the spoiler makers. My last one is the NFL. This, you might question me a little bit, but this team is coming off a bye, and the team they're playing is struggling even at home. They've had some struggle games. So I'm going to take the Lions plus 8 in Pittsburgh
You're out of your
against
mind.
the Steelers. Coming off a bye week, I think teams coming off a bye have performed really well in the NFL this year. The Lions are playing hard. I don't think they necessarily win, but plus 8, the Steelers just look terrible against the Bears too. I am all over the Lions plus 8. I think they might win outright this week.
Oh, when you get over a touchdown, like 7.5 to 8, that's usually a pretty good bet. And I can't remember this because maybe a few years ago, so it may have changed, but like 70% of the wins in the NFL are covers.
Yeah. I don't think that's true anymore with all these big lines, but it definitely the past few years, that's been a fact.
So, all right. You got the Lions, you got the Jets, you got USA over Mexico. Go USA. I've got all the dogs just covering. I don't think they'll win, but I got New Mexico State, I got Tennessee, and I have got Purdue. And those are lock. Oh, can I give you one lock for sure?
Please do.
And I would bet my life on this one. And I promise you this will happen. The Bears will not lose this week.
Really? No loss on a bye week.
No, you can't lose because you're not playing.
I don't know, Matt Nagy,
Yeah, well, with his coaching, he might figure might be the first one to lose on an open week. That's true. I'll let you know this portion of our show is brought to you by the good folks at Conway. Conway Services, heating, cooling, plumbing, and electric. I hope he doesn't mind me saying this, but our own Gabe Kuhn had a need of some heating thing in his home. What does he do? He turns to the good guys. He calls 384-3511. Boom, just like that. They were there hours after he called. Seriously. Fixed. Good price, efficient. They take care of you. I am saying you always have to do the tune-ups. Your system will last longer. But if you ever have a problem, they take care of you. 384-3511. Conway Services, heating, cooling, plumbing, electric. And if you've got a payback bill, you got one over $1,500, you know they'll buy it back. Even if they didn't do it. If you've had a repair bill on your system, which is old, you think is worthless, it's not. It's really worth $1,500 because John's going to give you that money, whether he did the repair or not, or whether you didn't even have a repair. He'll just give you $1,500 toward a new state-of-the-art Carrier Infinity system. So please, know you're in good hands at 384-3511. Conway Services, heating, cooling, plumbing, and electric. Okay, try to get in now. Fourth caller gets tickets to the Tigers and the Pirates tomorrow. They're good tickets, too. All you got to do is call the AutoZone phone line at 901-360-8255. Fourth one, you are going to see the football game tomorrow. We are back in just a minute, and we'll chat high school football with Glenn Rogers.
Hi, everyone. This is Greg Gaston. After 16-plus years coming to you during the midday hours, Eli Savoy and I have moved to the morning drive. You can join us weekdays from 7 to 10 a.m. for the all-new Sports 56 mornings, only on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Bartlett Small Engine has been serving quality power equipment since 1970. They have a full line of power equipment, parts, and services for most makes and models. Bartlett Small Engines has the best brands in the power tool industry: Honda mowers, trimmers, and generators, Steel blowers, trimmers, and chainsaws, Echo trimmers, blowers, and chainsaws, plus quality products from Red Mat and Shindawa. And they're all American made. Bartlett Small Engine is your can-do store. 6780 Summer Avenue. Call 901-386-9779.
Hi, I'm Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roof Services. Can anyone explain to me why anyone would care how I measure your roof? We've all heard about measuring your roof from outer space. Well, to be honest, that's not possible. There are aerial pictures that can be taken every 4 years that can be used to measure most buildings, but it's not from outer space. Besides, no one, and I mean no one, can tell you what's wrong with your roof, or even if you need one, looking at pictures that could be 4 years old. If you'd rather do business with a family-owned and operated business with a lifelong tie to Memphis that refuses to mislead or use gimmicks, give us a call. Best products, best warranties, and the best service we know how to give. Fiveash Roof Services, proud partner of the Memphis Tigers and the official roofer of the Memphis Tigers home team. Fiveash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Fiveash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Get to Gossett Mitsubishi, 1870 Covington Pike for your 2022 Mitsubishi Outlander. Just $349 a month. And get our stellar 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. Run, don't walk to Gossett Mitsubishi, 1870 Covington Pike, or shop online at memphismitsubishi.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
Dr. NZO 33599 MSRP 29345 84 at 4.9% APR 3,000 down, includes all rebates and incentives. PF 695 excludes tax title and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 11/30/2021. Dealer stock only.
Push the limits of what's possible in the all-new 2022 Mitsubishi Outlander. With a bold exterior and premium interior, Outlander reimagines the SUV. Rule the road with Mitsubishi Super all-wheel control and wireless smartphone technology. Plus, an industry-leading 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. Drive one today, starting at $31,702 at Gossett Mitsubishi. Get Thunderstruck.
Super all-wheel control is an available feature on all trim levels. Price based on an SEC UV. Important restrictions and rules apply. See retailer for limited warranty and more details. Offer ends 12/13/21.
It's not the first sounds of jingle bells that mark the official start of the holidays. It's not even the first signs of snow. the holidays start when you say they do. And that's why our Black Friday savings last for 30 days. So shop early or wait until 5 minutes before the party. Whether you're a holiday planner or a procrastinator, we've got 30 days of savings for you. Make the holidays yours with Black Friday prices now through December at the Home Depot. How doers get more done.
Years from now, when you're telling stories about watching Ja Morant when he was just starting out, you're going to want to remember where you were when you were watching him. And that should be Sweetgrass Next Door in the heart of Cooper Young. It's the perfect neighborhood bar that also just happens to have plenty of high-def TVs always tuned to the Grizzlies if they're on. It's a laid-back atmosphere at Sweetgrass Next Door, a place where you can enjoy a game, practically any game, without having to deal with a lot of people that don't seem to know how to behave in public. If you're looking for great food, signature cocktails, and the friendliest people around, you're looking for Sweetgrass Next Door in the heart of Cooper Young.
Listen Sundays at 11 a.m. to join Idlewild Presbyterian Church for worship. Idlewild is a PCUSA church located in Midtown Memphis.
Now, back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Glenn Rogers, our coach on high school football in a minute. Congratulations to Jason. He wins the tickets to see the Tigers and the Pirates. Congratulations. We're happy for you. I'm sitting in the Family Leisure studio reminding you got to get to Family Leisure at 2120 Wooden Road. That's Wooden Road, 940. Because it's the ultimate game room sale just in time for Christmas. In fact, you can beat the Christmas rush and get your game room ready now with free delivery on all in-stock items, 20% off all game room accessories. And we're talking pool tables, theater seating. Family Leisure's got you covered to make your game room something really special. Go check it out. You will love it. And Glenn's also brought to you by one of the worst golfers ever. That's Sheldon Rosengren, Mark Spensdorf. He likes to be called that because he likes to brag about how he can never practice because he's always working for you, and that's the truth. 24/7, 365. Sheldon's got a strategic marketing program, including Shellbucks, that really helps sell homes more than anybody else I've ever seen. So he may be called triple bogey or three-putt Sheldon, but no, it's because he's working on selling your home. If you'd like to see what I'm talking about, go to memphisrelocate.com, and you can call him at 483-0546. You want your house to get sold. You should talk to 2 or 3 real estate brokers. Just make sure Sheldon is one of them. Again, that number, 483-0546. Glenn Rogers Jr. joins us now, as he always does, on Fridays. And, Coach, there's going to be a new coach at White Station High School because the guy who was the coach, who'd been an alum the last couple of years, Reed Yarborough, he decided it was time to step down. You have any idea who's going to be the new Spartan coach?
No, good morning, Dave, and all our listeners. I have no idea, but I heard that Reed was going to be stepping down, and I've had some interaction with him when we played them a couple of years ago. Seemed like a very nice guy, a good coach, because I knew he had been there under some previous coaches. So it's kind of, well, not, I ain't going to say surprising, but it'll be interesting in who they bring in next, because White Station is one of the best programs in the city.
I've always thought White Station was the most bold, starting with Joe Riccone into Reed Yarborough, of playing all the great teams, and sometimes they struggle from it. And this was not a good year. And then, of course, last year was COVID, so that one really didn't matter. And so Reed's going on to other things. We wish him the very, very best. You guys are out of it. You lost a heartbreaker last week, but we've still got a lot of games to talk about, starting with what I think is probably the game of the week. That is Christian Brothers and Briarcrest. They played 2 months ago. It went to double overtime, and the Saints were winners by 143-42. What's going to happen tonight?
I'll tell you, Dave, it's interesting you bring this game up, because I'll tell you, I'm disappointed that I'm not playing tonight. I'm not going to sit there and tell that lie. I'm very disappointed, that we're not getting ready for a playoff game. But I'm also excited to go see this one. Keon Crawford, the defensive end for Briarcrest, former, been playing basketball, first year playing football, just an amazing talent. and Kudus, the old lineman from Christian Brothers who's committed to Arkansas. This is the battle that I want to see, Dave. Two Division I caliber guys line up across from each other and going to be going at each other all night. And I think this is going to be one of the great matchups. And like you said earlier, Briarcrest in double overtime, they scored. Coach Stewart went for two and got it. And this was a game. I watched that game on tape. It was one of the most exciting games I've seen in a long time in high school football.
You speak like a true coach, because most people would say, okay, we got Dallin Hayden, the great running back from Christian Brothers. We got the Saints quarterback, J.D. Sherritt. He's got this kid that he throws to, Max Carroll, who I think caught 3 touchdown passes against the Brothers in the game that they played. And Hayden had 4 touchdowns in that game. And you're talking about the O lineman against the D lineman who'd been a basketball player. I think that's fabulous.
Oh, yeah, I'm telling you, Dave, this young man, remember, Keon Crawford, he has a motor. He's very athletic. I mean, he can move. And Kudus, I think, is one of the best tackles I've seen in a long time in high school. He's got great feet. He's aggressive. And so that's the matchup I'm going to see. And I know Dallin and the quarterback at Briarcrest and Max Carroll, they're great athletes. But I tell you, football to me, Dave, I'm kind of old school this way. Football is won in the trenches. If you can't block and get to the pass and get to the rusher, you can't block and tackle, then it's going to be a long night for somebody up front who can't get the job done on either side of the ball.
Ravenwood at Collierville. Ravenwood's good. They're 9-2. They got a quarterback named Chris Parson who's going to play for Mike Norvell at Florida State. But the Dragons have not lost the game, 11-0. They really play good defense. What happens tonight?
I'll tell you, Dave, this is another good, exciting high school football game. Ravenwood is a storied program, always had success. Have always been deep in the playoffs or either won a state title. And like you said, the quarterback is the engine that makes the train run. I mean, he's got a live arm, and Mike Norvell and his reputation with quarterbacks. So, and then Collierville, Joe Riccone, defensive coach, has an outstanding defensive end, and I know his linebackers out, but boy, I tell you, this is going to be another game to watch. It's a big, exciting crowd out there at Collierville. I'm saying Joe going to get it done tonight. I think they'll find a way to get to him and put pressure on him, and they'll find a way to get this game, ball game won tonight in a hostile environment out there in Collierville.
So he'll get to 12-0. By the way, Kevin Johns, the offensive coordinator for the U of M, his son plays on that Collierville football team. So they're looking to go 12-0 and move on. We got a big one with BGA and Lausanne at Lausanne. The Lausanne had a bye last week, so they were off. They're 8-1. BGA 6-5. You would think this would be Lausanne the favorite here.
Oh yeah, it's always amazing talent. They have so much talent on the offense and defensive side of the ball. They got a young man that's up for Mr. Football, Craig Cunningham, who's a running back, extraordinary running back with speed and quickness, and so. I'm Lausanne is going to get the win tonight. I think they'll keep marching on until to make another state playoff, state championship run. I think they'll get it done tonight.
This one is going to be interesting. Central 9-2. I think they've lost their last 2 though. Taking on Springfield in Springfield. They're 9-2. Jamarius Brooks has been terrific all year long. He's the running back for Central. He had 4 touchdowns last week in a playoff game against Kenwood. What happens?
And, there's another young man that's up for Mr. Football, Dave. And, Major Wright always has done an amazing job from his days at Whitehaven and Briarcrest. And, he is leading his 3rd program over at Central for a state championship run. And, going on the road, Dave, and you know this from being, from covering sports with the Tigers, going on the road this time of year is very, very tough to try to go in there and get a win and get a win. And so I think it'll be a close game. But I think Major and them may see the end of the road tonight because with Central, if you can stop the run and Major don't have to use his play action pass, that's a big key to take away from them. And I think Springfield will do a good job of that tonight.
So you are going with the home team, Springfield, in that game.
Yeah.
The winner will get Munford versus Henry County. Munford is 9-2. They've won 7 in a row. We're going to bring Jay Morgan Harder in for a minute because he's going to be on the call tonight What happens, Jay Morgan? Then we'll get the coach's perspective.
Hey, Coach. So I do Munford football, and they're a good team. So Henry County beat Dyer County last week, who Munford played earlier this year, snuck out a close one. They're a pretty young team. Henry County also played Portland earlier this year. They beat them 56-0. That's who Munford beat last week. Munford has a running back named Alvick White, who is unbelievable. He's playing great football. I think he's a little bit of a snub for Mr. Football. And they have a sophomore quarterback that is playing the best football I've seen, Jordan Bell. He's really throwing the ball a lot better right now. But I've heard about Henry County. The road to the state championship always goes through Henry County. I think they're going to be the toughest 6-5 team Munford's going to play all year. Coach, what do you think?
Yeah, and that game is at Munford. Am I correct?
Yeah, that game's at Munford tonight.
Yeah, that game's at Munford. I'm going to tell you something, Dave. Henry County, for years, they came down here and they were in Melrose, but they were nemesis in Melrose's side.
Right.
And Melrose got past them a couple of times, but they were nemesis. And I tell you what, they're going to come down here. They're going to close down to the game. Was the couple of times I've seen them play Melrose down here, that whole city was at the game. That whole business side was packed. And so it'll be a good environment tonight, but I'm giving the edge to Munford. I think, like you said, the running back has been snubbed for Mr. Football. I've been watching him all year, been putting up great numbers. They've been doing an excellent job up front for blocking for him. And I think Munford will get it done tonight because of the home field advantage.
All right, you mentioned Melrose. They're back in the playoffs. How about that? 6-5. Yeah. They're starting to turn that thing back around. But they got to go to Haywood. Haywood hasn't lost a game. They're 11-0. This is like mission impossible, isn't it?
Well, Haywood County, and congratulations to Cedric Wilson, getting Melrose back in the playoffs and trying to make a deep run. And, we've all been watching his son play for the Cowboys, Cedric Wilson Jr. And so, like you said, Dave, this would be a tall task. Haywood County is always, when you go in there, it's tough. They're a physical ball club. The fan support is great. It's another one of these places when the football games are going on Friday night, everything is closed down, and everybody, the local high school team. This would be a tall task for Cedric and Melrose, and tune in tonight because Haywood's just going to be a little bit too much on the road going into that environment.
All right, let me get one more game in before we let you go. Millington 6-4 going to Dyersburg. Tough place to play, and they haven't lost yet. I'm imagining Dyersburg's a big favorite here.
Oh, yeah. Chris Michael, former Tiger teammate of mine, is always, Millington product, always done an amazing job. But, when you go on the road in these small towns, the environment is electric, is amplified, the decibels go up 2 or 3 notches. And so I think Millington will put up a big-time fight, but I think Dyersburg will be a little too much for him tonight going into an environment like that.
This is going to be a lot of fun. If you get a chance, get out to a high school football game tonight.
Absolutely.
I know you'll be at Briarcrest. Good luck, and we'll talk next week.
Absolutely, and good luck to the Tigers tomorrow against East Carolina. Go Tigers, go.
You're going to need all the luck you can get, that's for sure. That is a good quality team that has gotten better and better and better. Should have beat South Carolina earlier in the year. This portion of the show brought to you by Old Dominick. They'll be out tomorrow watching the game. Those folks are big Tiger supporters. So whether you're stopping in for maybe a refreshing drink while you're exploring Memphis, or you're finishing up a night out, they've got a bar at the distillery that you will love. The bar at Old Dominick offers up carefully crafted cocktails to suit everybody's taste in an elevated yet relaxed atmosphere. It's cool. It really is. Pull up a stool at the bar. You can join Old Dominick mixologist for a cocktail made entirely with spirits produced under the watchful eye of this great woman who really knows her craft, her art. Her name is Alex Castle. I just saw a nice picture of her in a magazine. They were talking about Old Dominick. It's a cool place with their absolute tour that they give you, with the tastings, or just coming for a late night drink. You will love this gem that we've got at 305 South Front Street. It is the Old Dominick Distillery. We take a break. When we come back, we'll chat with our agent in Chicago, Andy Schiffman from Priority Sports. He joins us in just a minute.
You have opinions?
The knowledge that I have matters.
We want to hear them. Call or text us on the AutoZone listener line at 360-8255. That's the AutoZone listener line at 901-360-8255.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
For years, I have talked to you about James Davis, the finest men's store in all of Memphis, the service, the selection, everything that goes with quality. And I've told you recently about the Stant Perfect Fit shirts. Well, now there's the Stant Perfect Fit pants. Absolutely amazing. Only 2 measurements fed into a computer, and all of a sudden, you've got the perfect fit pants. I'm talking everywhere. The leg, the seat, the bottom, all made to fit your body absolutely perfectly. And there's 80 different fabrics to choose from. You will find the right look, the right fit, almost instantaneously. They start at $162, but you will never find a better pair of pants than these at James Davis Men's Store. And the shirts are still there, and guess what? It's the only place in Memphis that you can find Stant. That's the James Davis Men's Store in the Laurelwood Shopping Center.
The original hot dog factory and Spike's Wing, located at 4265 Hex Cross Road near 385. The menu offers a variety of all beef hot dogs with over 20 choices. Try some of the best-selling favorites like the bacon wrap Memphis dog and even sausages like street Polish, Italian, or Jamaican jerk chicken. Open 7 days a week, Monday through Saturday, 11 till 10, and Sunday, 11 to 8. Catering and event hosting is available. Have your next meeting or family gathering at the original hot dog factory. Now hiring team members. Apply in person. The original hot dog factory and Spice Wing.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
I'm Brian Elder, 867-0303. Hurricane season is upon us. Is your roof ready? Are your shingles laying down and sealed properly? Call me right now, 867-0303. They say you get what you pay for. That's why my opinion is free. Maybe you've got years of life left in your roof. If so, I'll tell you that. But if I find storm damage or a compromised roof system, I'll lay out some options for you. Don't let them tell you it needs to be replaced if it only needs a repair. Call me, 867-0303. Has your insurance company already seen it and rejected your claim? Maybe they're correct. Most of the time, they're not. They do tend to become more reasonable once I get involved, though. 867-0303. I'll measure your roof from outer space or BrianElderRoofing.com.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Get to Gossett Mitsubishi, 1870 Covington Pike for your 2022 Mitsubishi Outlander. Just $349 a month. And get our stellar 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. Run, don't walk to Gossett Mitsubishi, 1870 Covington Pike, or shop online at memphismitsubishi.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
Dr. NCO 33599 MSRP 29345 84 at 4.9% APR 3,000 down includes all rebates and incentives. PF 695 excludes tax title and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 11/30/2021. Dealer stock only.
Push the limits of what's possible in the all-new 2022 Mitsubishi Outlander. With a bold exterior and premium interior, Outlander reimagines the SUV. Rule the road with Mitsubishi's super all-wheel control and wireless smartphone technology. Plus, an industry-leading 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. Drive one today, starting at $31,702 at Gossett Mitsubishi. Get Thunderstruck.
Super all-wheel controls an available feature on all trim levels. Price based on an SEC UV. Important restrictions and rules apply. See retailer for limited warranty and more details. Offer ends 12/13/21.
Now, back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again, it's the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Final portion of our Friday morning show. Man, it's flown by. Always ended the week on a good note because we get to chat with our friend Andy Schiffman. He's brought to you in part by the good folks at the Spirit Shop. So, high school football tonight. You might want to get like schnapps or something like that. He'll tell you all about schnapps. You can peach schnapps, regular schnapps. I mean, all kinds of stuff you can get to keep warm because it'll be a little chilly tonight. Or, you know, he's got rare bourbons if you want to go in that direction. Same thing tomorrow morning. It's a little bit early, but I don't know, maybe some Kahlua for your coffee. That might warm things up just a little bit. Just some suggestions. I know it's going to open up early tomorrow morning at Tiger Lane. So you got to stock up. The best place to do it is so convenient right there at Poplar and St. Nick, 4848 Poplar Avenue, family owned, and they treat you like family when you walk in there. They'll take care of you. You got any question, nothing is too trivial. They'll educate you about all kinds of either great wines or great rare bourbons or the middle of the road or the bargains or the up-and-comers. It's just a cool experience, and you'll be amazed at how much stuff they have in that little log cabin straight down there from Clark Tower. The Spirit Shop. It's time to stock up for the weekend. So Andy Schiffman, our agent in Chicago, joins us now. I got a lot of questions I want to ask you, but I want to start with all of a sudden we got some big man scuffles. Jokic went crazy the other night against Morris. Last night it was Gobert that was involved. Has the league got to get a little bit tougher because it's early on? You got to set a tone, and those are some big dudes that are throwing some haymakers.
No, absolutely, and it adds a little bit more excitement to watch these games. Look, wouldn't read into it too much. I think it's just the competitive nature of all these athletes out there competing every single night. And this year, like we've already talked about, maybe besides what the Warriors are doing, there's so much parity in the league. And you had Indiana going into Utah, winning last time on the road, which was a huge win for them. So with losses that may not have happened otherwise last season, let's say, comes frustration. And I think, unfortunately, physical play, increased physicality, that's just the byproduct of increasing frustration in some of these games. But, hey, I can appreciate the competitiveness.
Well, and we got so many good big guys, too. I mean, if you think about it, starting with Giannis, if you call him a big guy, I would. But Jokic,
I call him a utility man that does everything. Yeah, Jokic, Embiid, and Gobert,
yeah.
They're fun to watch.
I wouldn't quite put Steven Adams in that department, but he's definitely what Memphis needs to have space in the lane. He does his job with rebounding the ball, and he does a little better job than what was you were getting from that position a year ago. So I think he's done his thing. My question about the Grizz is inconsistency. It's every other game they play really well, and then it's almost like taking a night off.
Oh, absolutely. And look, last night you lose at home to Charlotte by 10. That's a frustrating loss coming back off that Minnesota win where my guy Brandon Clark went crazy and they had a huge comeback win in overtime. That was fun to watch. But then you come out, like you said, Desmond Bane, 1 for 10 from the floor, 0 for 7 from 3. I don't think you can rely yet on Ja Morant's 3-ball. He was 1 for 6. But in games past, and definitely in seasons past, as you know, this Grizzlies team has consistently relied heavily on the 3. And so when the 3's not dropping and you're not getting bench productivity, it's going to be hard to win. And I'm not going to sit there and say Charlotte is a cupcake. I mean, they're tough this year with LaMelo Ball, Gordon Hayward, our guy. He had a big game. And then you had Kelly Oubre, who did what he did off the bench last night.
Well, he killed
7 points. No, absolutely. 7 threes. 7 threes. So
yeah, for a 32% three-point shooter.
Yeah, exactly. And so and something like that, look, that's less about the Grizzlies needing to hit their own shots. In an instance like we had last night, I think it's more about trying to defend a guy like Kelly Oubre. That you can't let that happen, to your point. You cannot let a guy like that beat you.
You mentioned Desmond Bane's struggles. Do you think that has anything to do with looking over your shoulder to see that Dillon Brooks is back?
I don't know. Obviously, these last 3 games, he's combined, I think, 1 for about 17 from 3. I would like to think at this point, Desmond Bane, he's no longer a rookie. He understands the dynamic of the team. There seems to be very good chemistry in the Grizzlies locker room. I would like to think that's not an issue for him, and that's not the reason for his struggles. I honestly don't know the reason for his struggles, but I'm not quick to say maybe that's in his head, and that's why he's been struggling.
Brooks is resting tonight, by the way. Came back 1 game, resting.
Yep. And that's pretty normal. That's pretty normal.
What's the rationale behind that?
Limited minutes. You don't want players playing too many games in a short amount of time. I have a lot of players who have dealt with this, have some guys going through it now. It's just a way for them to ease back into the just game mode and getting back into elite game shape. You don't want to do too much too soon. And I actually was talking to a trainer of a team yesterday about one of my players who's coming back from an injury, and his whole rationale was we'd rather have him come back a week late than a week early. And you get to February, March, and April, no one's going to look back and say, oh, man, we really missed so-and-so that game in mid-November for those 3 games to finish out November. So they're really kind of looking long-term, and the Grizzlies are doing the same thing with Dillon. They want to be able to have a healthy Dillon Brooks for the rest of the season. And so with that, they've got a plan in place, I can promise you that, where they are bringing him along slowly. They're probably limiting his minutes right now. And then you look up in a few weeks, hopefully he's back playing consistent minutes and consistent games without taking nights off.
There's a fine line. It's interesting to me. If I'm a fan, I'm upset that I want to see Dillon tonight, and I want to see him take on Kyrie Irving and the Western Conference champions, who are off to a decent start again.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're the favorites in this game tonight, and they're 7-3.
Yep.
And the Warriors 10-1. I mean, that's pretty
Yeah.
heavy. The biggest surprise is the Wizards, who are
we talked about it
8-3.
last
I
week.
know.
Yep.
Wizards
I
and the Bulls. My goodness, who would have thought?
The Bulls. I'll say this: the Bulls. I think we talked about it. I love their starting five. Obviously, with Pat Williams out, and now Vucevic with health and safety protocols, he's going to be out for a few games. But just generally speaking, I love what they've done with their roster. The Wizards. I'm very surprised. I'm very surprised. Even on nights when our guy Bradley Beal may struggle, other players are stepping up. The players in the package they got in trading Westbrook to the Lakers and getting back Harrell, Kuzma. I mean, I'm surprised how well they've meshed together and how well things have gone with them.
Yeah, I back to the Brooks thing for finish the thought. There's a fine line, I guess, between being sore, easing a guy in to the minutes that he's going to have, and getting him conditioned, because you don't get conditioned unless you're playing games.
Absolutely, and that's what people don't. I think the average NBA fan thinks, okay, you're back healthy, so you should go out there and be starting and playing 25 minutes easily. There's the notion of being healthy, ready to play, and then getting back into game shape, just to your point. And that's something that you cannot overlook at all, because if you're out there overworking, even if you're, let's say his hand's fully healed, but you're overcompensating in other areas because you're not quite back into game shape, that's when other injuries happen.
Then there's the Pelicans. Zion hasn't played yet. Ingram is now out. I think he's been out 6 or 7 games. That would be like if Morant and Triple J didn't play. How many games would the Grizzlies have won? So their top 2 players are out. They're 1-11. No one could have seen this one coming.
Well, look, you live and die by Zion on that team. I mean, they moved Lonzo Ball, obviously. He's out of there, and then without Brandon Ingram, and you just have no one. You've got a very young team with not a lot of experience. You've got some attractive pieces, I think, for the future. Guys like Nickeil Walker-Alexander, obviously Devontae Graham, who they've added, Jackson Hayes, Trey Murphy, who I'm a big fan of as a rookie out of Virginia.
Right.
Down the road, they could turn into something. Then you've got, obviously, former Grizzlies Valanciunas. But you look at that roster, I mean, they're starting 5 right now. Our client, Garrett Temple, who's an always team-first guy, great teammate, leader. Josh Hart, Devontae Graham, Valanciunas, and Walker-Alexander. I mean, you think about that. Look at those names. I mean, those are probably going to be bench players on any other team in the league.
Yeah, it's a nightmare, that is for sure, in New Orleans, at least with this start. All right, last thing, you got about a minute. What do you think about the way those Tigers looked the other night? What do you think of this team?
All right, so I'm excited to see the Tigers when they start conference play and when they play. I think they're playing in Brooklyn later this month, right, in that tournament.
Thanksgiving.
So
sandwiching Thanksgiving, Wednesday, Friday.
Yeah, so when you really start to play top-level competition, that's going to be the true test. You can say that about any top-ranked team. I think that right now the Tigers are an elite collection of individual talent, obviously Amani Bates, Duren. I'm a huge fan of the freshman Josh Minot. I think he's got extreme upside. He may not be a guy to pop this year, but down the road, obviously Quinones. They've got a really good squad together. I want to see how cohesive they are as a team. And look, you've got your 2 best players in Duren and Amani Bates, who is an absolute stud. They're freshmen. And we'll see how they lead a team and how they do against some of these other top teams, because you know how it is with the Tigers. In years past, we're always coming into the season pretty high ranked on teams like this. And then unfortunately, it seems like we get disappointed when we start losing games against other higher level teams. So we'll see if this year, hopefully they can turn the page and create a different result, because they're going to be exciting to watch. No doubt about that.
I think it'll be a different start. And you're right. And you're going to get St. Louis, although their best player, I heard, is not out. But that'll be a test. And then you're going to get Virginia Tech right off the bat, probably Xavier in game 2 in the Barclays Center. So we'll get a much better sense. Have a great weekend, my friend. Talk to you next Friday.
Thanks, Dave. Take care.
That is our agent in Chicago. That is Andy Schiffman with Priority Sports. We thank Glenn Rogers and Andy Schiffman. Enjoy all the football. Be a long day tomorrow. I hope you're listening for part of that. That is for sure. Have a great weekend, everybody.
I have a great car shopping tip for you. Here it is. If you're